Welcome everyone, Marcelo is my name. It's been a wonderful journey and it's great to be behind this desk. Of late I've been very nostalgic thinking about my 5 years doing the NFC channel. There's a great film called The Great Beauty which essentially celebrates nostalgia and travels through the life of this man, or the main character Jeb. As he celebrates his 65th birthday, he begins to ask the questions: who is he? What has he done with his life? And more importantly, his search for the great beauty. It takes him on this emotional pilgrimage, which leads him back to his very first love. I've watched this film like 7, 8 times. That closing scene, it does make me cry because I think to myself, what is the great beauty? NFC has celebrated 5 years recently on the 5th of February, and I asked the question in this mate talk: what are some of the fragrances that I've put forward to you and what has resonated? This has created such a nostalgic looking back and reminded me of the great beauties that have been part of this NFC journey. One of those brands has been Penhaligon. If you look at the very first video that I created, it actually is on Terrible Teddy, one of the portraits in the collection. Today, I really want to delve back into this and remember my first loves, my great beauties, when it comes to this beautiful house. What drew me to it originally was the history, the background that existed, the 1870 William Penhaligons. I mean, this one here is the inimitable William Penhaligons. And I love the detail that happens on the box. I love the bow ties on those original fragrances. There was so much in here that when I first came to it, I was hook, line, and sinker. Today, I want to talk about one of the very first ones that I purchased, which is Much Ado About the Duke. And the question as I spray to you, rose. Is that a fragrance note for a man or for a woman? And it's a question that I asked myself back in 2018 when I first started to get into all things niche perfumery. Up until then, I was very much aligned to all things designer. Anything with florals, that has to be feminine. Anything with woods and aromatics, that has to be masculine. And then I came across this. I fell in love with the scent profile. Truthfully, I fell in love with the bloodhound that is on the actual bottle itself, which then led me to spraying, which then led me to the scent profile of this incredible fragrance. It had me bewildered because I could detect a slight rose, but it also was intermingled with these classic masculine aromatic scent profiles, a pepperiness, a spiciness, and definitely a woodiness in the fragrance. The evolution on the fragrance is divine, and I still experience it in the same way. A beautiful peppery rose on that opening. That black pepper or some sort of spicy note comes through as it migrates through. It does go to a clean, but also spicy profile, and then finally settles on a very dry, woody rose. The rose is always apparent. It's all present, but it's not dominant. And this is why at the time I actually ventured into it, because in detecting that rose note, I thought, oh, it made me uncomfortable because rose is a note that is designed for a female fragrance. Years ago, I had an opportunity to be with the perfumer Luca Maffei and have a look at this production. Had an opportunity to go through AFM, which is Atelier Fragranze Milano. It's his perfume house. And I asked him the question, rose, female or male? Where does this go? And his response was so simple, so laid back. He asked me the question, pasta. Which pasta is for man and which pasta is for woman? And I've never forgotten that, because at the end of the day, and this was his response, pasta is pasta. You know, there's none of this designation of this particular shape or this particular style is made for a man or a woman. And he said that rose is the same thing. The rose scent, when well constructed, can work so well in a man. The beauty of the Duke is that those peppery, the spicy notes, the dryness of the wood gives it that sophistication and edge that a masculine fragrance would have. Any man who might not be comfortable with any florals in their fragrance, the profile here allows you to be in a safe place. As I mentioned earlier, the rose note is present but not dominant. For those women who also like rose in their fragrance, this is now a beautiful twist on the classic rose. This is or has always been my suit up style of fragrance, something that creates a level of sophistication. There is a level of nobility, and I do love the fact that the bloodhound is the image to this particular portrait. The bloodhound has always been connected to aristocracy, to nobility, and the scent profile of the Duke accentuates that sophistication, that well-dressed, the stylish, and it gives you that edge of confidence, essentially. The sillage and projection on the Duke falls into that very comfortable moderate. I find that I am wearing a jacket, I'm suited up, and yet the Duke is very present. I get a very confident 5 hours out of it. I get a little bit more, but just so you know, this is something you can take to an event and feel confident that it will last the entire session of that. The Duchess is now the opposite of the Duke. The Duke has the woodiness, the pepperiness, the more, I guess, stoic nature of it, whereas the Duchess is light, is airy, optimistic, a lot more breezy. I love the companionship between these two portraits. The Duke being a noble, this is what he's wearing. His wife, the Duchess, is actually wearing also a rose. It's a beautiful companionship of the two. This could be your power couple. One of you could be wearing the Duke and the other the Duchess. But in truth, I wear both. The moment I sprayed, you're getting the sense of sunshine. There is this wonderful fruity bouquet on the opening. And similar to the Duke, the rose is apparent but not dominant. It doesn't become a very rose-forward fragrance. The composition is actually quite sublime as the fragrance moves. When the fragrance opens up, it does have a beautiful fruity floral tinge to it. The rose is present, but there's other things also occurring as it begins to migrate through. It goes to clean and green. I get green elements coming through. So it's almost like the freshness of the rose bud along with the stem and the greenness of the actual leaves. Finally, when it does dry down and settle, it does go to a wonderful rose, musky, sweet scent profile to it. On skin, it is magical. For me, the longevity on the Duchess is actually longer than the Duke. Even though the Duke has wood notes, therefore bigger molecules, and it should stay longer, but I am, as I mentioned, 5 hours, whereas Duchess, 12 plus hours. And this occurred this morning. I was preparing yesterday, and the first thing I thought to myself as I woke up is, can I still smell the Duchess? And I'm getting a beautiful, sweet, musky, slight tinge of floral rose coming through, whereas the Duke was no longer on my skin. I couldn't actually detect it. There is a clean note, and I love that the Duke and the Duchess share the synergy between the two of them. I haven't seen anything listed that there's an aldehyde or things of that nature, but I get a very distinct clean laundry, so that beautiful fresh linen, or it could even be like fresh skin, straight out of the shower, and you have this wonderful, clean, soapy freshness. There's something beautiful about this clean skin. There was a great commercial that was done years ago in which there's a woman lying on a bed, almost with a sense of like sexual anticipation. In comes her partner and throws upon this woman clean laundry. And I remember watching that and thinking, yeah, actually, I do love the thought of fresh laundry. I do love the thought of going into a hotel room and smelling that clean bed linen. I don't know, there's something appealing about that. And this is what I get from both these fragrances. It is a lot more pronounced when it comes to the Duchess, this beautiful, clean, bright skin, sunny, optimistic scent profile, but the Duke also has this. And this is why I feel that these two are a power couple style fragrances. You could be wearing one, your partner wearing the other, and together this scent profile, this beautiful rosy bouquet with these other elements and these unique nuances between the two of you would be unstoppable. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, boom. The Duchess for me is a fragrance that I love wearing on a day-to-day basis. This is a sunny day. This is me coming to the office. This is a breezy scent. This is something that is an easy reach if I'm not sure. I mean, even going for a walk, the Duchess is one that I love to spray. And I'll go one more. Men who are uncomfortable with rose, I would recommend to you the Duchess. Yes, it is a little bit more, I guess, airy and bright and directed, I think, to more of a female sort of profile, but put that aside. I would strongly recommend test them out. Test out both of them side by side. They're a beautiful companionship. The sillage on this particular fragrance, I do find that is a lot lower, whereas the Duke, as I mentioned, is on that moderate. the Duchess is on that lower to moderate. It doesn't go into a body scent. It is still pronounced. And as I mentioned, you wake up, or for me, wake up in the morning and I can detect the fragrance on my skin. It's been fun reminiscing the early episodes of the channel and revisiting these old friends. The moment that I spray, it's like, oh my gosh, I remember you are one of my first loves. And I do appreciate the joy that they bring to me. I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Are you familiar with these particular portraits? What are your favorites? I am a collector. I love the headpieces that they have. I love the scent profiles that they provide. And I will be sharing more on these beautiful portrait fragrances in the coming weeks. Thank you, everyone. Look forward to your comments. We'll see you all on the next episode.